election, people have also complained how ugly the political rhetoric has gotten this election season. Now the New York Times is showing what that ugliness looks like, not just between the candidates. The paper this morning made an exception to its rule against publishing vulgarities and slurs and posted a video of what its own reporters hear from some, let me be clear, some, not all, some of the people who attend these Trump rallies. The Times presidential campaign editor says that it is, quote, unlike anything we have seen in politics or in the New York Times. Here is just a clip.
Build that wall! Build that wall! Build that wall!
Send ambassadors back. I'm sure that paperwork comes in Spanish.
Ignorance and immigrants, they mix together! Woo! Woo!
If you don't speak English and don't contribute, get out.
I'm giving the largest tax cut of any
Hillary needs to get her ass spanked.
With me now, CNN political commentator Marc Lamont Hill, who's also a professor at Morehouse College, and Donald Trump supporter Carl Higbie, who served as a Navy SEAL. Gentlemen, welcome. And Carl, just straight out to you, how, when these vulgarities are shouted at a rally or outside of a rally, how does Donald Trump react to that language?
Well, I think it's how we as a public react to the language, and quite frankly, there's a lot like that shirt you were showing with Trump, that expletive stuff like that is being sold by private vendors individually, and people are annoyed. There's no doubt, and it's not excusable, but people are very annoyed with the direction of the country right now, and they're buying these shirts, and it's a marketable and profitable industry, so people are doing it. And look, I'm not going to sit here and make excuses for people using vitriolic language, and they shouldn't do it, and it's certainly not helping the cause, but it goes along on both sides. You have the Trump protest, or the people protesting Trump at his rallies burning American flags. So I think that it's going along on both sides.
To be fair, and I reached out to all of our campaign reporters, especially those who cover the other campaigns. I said, what's the worst, you've sort of seen or heard, let's say, at a Hillary Clinton or a Bernie Sanders rally, and they said, they've heard chants of Wall Street, they heard chants of BS, they heard chants of, no Trump. But that's it. Mark, what do you think?
I'll give you an example. I was at the Republican National Convention all week. I was at the Democratic National Convention all week. And the type of slurs, the type of vitriolic language, the type of hate-filled speech that I heard from Trump supporters was vastly different than what I heard from Hillary Clinton supporters. And again, I'm not a Hillary Clinton supporter. I'm a Jill Stein Green Party supporter. So I don't have a nickel in this dollar, so to speak. I'm telling you, it was much worse under Trump.
Okay. Did we lose him? Okay, so we lost him. Let's try to get him back.
Well, you still got me.
I've still got you, Carl. I'm hanging in there with you. So let me just continue on, because in addition to the video, we had this New York Times piece, or rather, a New York Times piece written by columnist Charles Blow. And so he says in part this: supporting Trump is indefensible, and it makes you as much of a pariah as he is. Trump is a mirror. He is a reflection of, indeed, a revealing of the ugliness that you harbor. Only it is possible that you may have gone your life expressing it in ways that were more coded and politic. And so it's strong, it's harsh. Obviously, we see how he has felt. We've talked to Charles Blow a number of times on the show. We know how he feels about Trump. But to lump all, he's essentially saying, when you read the whole piece, lumping all, Mark, you're back, lumping all Trump supporters is racist. Is that fair, Carl?
Well, no, it's not fair to say. And look, people on both sides are going to have tendency of their own inclination. But the fact of the matter is, if you have, like, for instance, the Republican Party passed the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment to free slaves, give them equal rights, and to give them voting rights. So the fact is that if you believe the Democrats have voted against that, doesn't make you racist to be a Democrat. So it certainly doesn't make you racist to be a Republican just because some guy wrote an article about it. I think that's one of the things that the Democrats have been actually very successful at, is dividing this party by white male, white female, black Muslim American, and what they do is they divide and conquer, and that's what the PAC I represent, Great America PAC, has been very effective at bringing people together and doing some reaching across the aisles and making sure that we're all Americans and not segregated by race or religion or creed.
Mark, you were shaking your head. Tell me why.
Lots of things. First, just to quickly catch up, I've been at lots of conventions. I've been at lots of rallies, all for the last 20 years, and I've never quite heard from a mainstream candidate what I've heard, mainstream campaign what I've heard under the Trump campaign. What I heard in Cleveland was just radically different than what I heard in Philadelphia. I'm not a Hillary Clinton supporter. I'm a Green Party supporter. I have no nickel in this dollar. I'm telling you, there's a radical difference here. And I don't think it's about being divisive. I think it's about telling the truth, and we have to always tell the truth here. Yeah, I mean, we can talk about the Republican Party, you know, freeing slaves in the 19th century, but that's not the same Republican Party that we see at the turn of the 20th century, and it's certainly not the Republican Party that we see right now, and that's the conversation we need to be having. I don't think that everybody who's going to vote for Donald Trump is racist, and I certainly don't think everybody who is Republican is racist, but I do think it is increasingly indefensible to support and vote for Donald Trump given the things that he says and the values that he supports and the people who stand around him. And that's a serious conversation that we have to have.
Okay.
All right.
Go ahead quickly, Carl. You can finish it up.
Well, so I think it's very interesting to look at here. I mean, it doesn't matter the color of your skin. What happens is people are becoming increasingly more divisive over this. It's like, look, Barack Obama, a black president, or a half-black president, has been in power for 8 years now, and you've also had two black attorney generals. Is the black community better off? No. The median income of the black community is far down. So I think the race
color,
thing
let me
is
just interject. When you
tool.
watch this entire New York Times video, and we didn't play sort of the most egregious, the worst of it, skin color does matter, according to some of these folks who are chanting these slurs.
No, I think a lot of those things were also aimed at the migrant thing, and why they were harsh, and I don't agree with all the things that were said there. I think that what you have is people are annoyed at people coming into this country committing crimes, and not all. There's very many immigrants that come here legally and work very hard and abide by the laws and go through the system, but there are many that don't.
Right, but again, let's tell the truth, and let's not have distractions like talking about the median income of African Americans under black attorneys general. The attorney general has nothing to do with income. I don't even understand the connection there. But the deeper question here, again, is race and a conversation at these rallies, and whether or not Barack Obama is an effective president or not is irrelevant. The truth here is at these rallies we hear anti-immigrant sentiment, we hear xenophobic sentiment, we hear racist sentiment, and when you hear those things it raises questions about the candidate. No, it doesn't mean that you have to be accountable for every single person who supports you, but Donald Trump isn't someone just thrown into a mix where he just happens to have racists supporting him. His comments about Mexican or Mexican-American judges, his comments about Muslims, his comments about Arabs, his comments about women invite these types of people. He invites these people to stand around him through his rhetoric, and then after he throws the rocks, he then hides his hands. That's what we must be accountable for. We need to talk about the rhetoric. We need to talk about what it means to defend someone who has this type of agenda and this type of platform.
Words matter. I know folks on both sides of the aisle would agree. Marc Lamont Hill, Carl Higbie, gentlemen, thank you so much. An important conversation to have, especially